Here comes the Nastygram.
Welcome to a special bonus episode of the Nastygram RPG podcast. This will be our session 0 for our new arc, Dark Legacy.
So, you guys want to play a game?
Yeah,
Sure,
You want to play?
any
You want to
game.
play a? I was gonna say vampire, but there's not gonna be any vampires. But we're gonna use vampire.
Is that a spoiler?
5th
Did you
edition
just already?
Vampire, the Masquerade, the 5th edition rule set.
Okay, I'm a Toreador.
No, you're
I'm
a
a
human.
Sombra.
You're a useless human. And what's even better is you're going to be a useless human who doesn't even have any cool technology because it's going to be 1870.
Oh
Wait,
no,
can I be a blood doll?
You can be a blood bag.
Jake? I
good.
came to the realization of when I was playing in any of your World of Darkness or you or Dean's games, I was always a human. I never got to play vampire with you guys.
We've never actually run a vampire game.
No.
It's been a long time since we actually played vampire.
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't think that we have all played 5th edition vampire. So it's mostly the same, but whatever. It's a slightly different rule set.
Sticking
So
to single die. So
5e, do we have like warlock levels and stuff? Or?
You have no, you have no levels. There's no levels and there's no classes in this
it's still
game.
all D10s, right?
It's all D10s. I mean, the character sheet looks pretty much the same and same kind of idea. You roll a bunch of D10s and you want to get successes. And, I actually started a quick kind of reference sheet on the Google Drive for how the rules work. But before we talk about stupid rules, let's talk about the game. So I got a little setting info here. I'll set the stage, and then what we'll do is we can talk about character concepts and how they fit into the setting. And then I'm going to take all that information and then go and completely change my game based on what you guys tell me. But I kind of over prepped for session 0. Although I wrote this all a long time ago, so I might not remember it all. But I'll read some of this and then take it all with a grain of salt because I have no problem changing a bunch of it if something else works better for the characters. If you guys have ideas for how you might know each other or how things might fit together. But the idea was that you would all be playing humans. It is in 1870, so the Civil War recently ended. And you're all going to not necessarily know each other, although you can if you want to, but you're all going to be connected by this man named James Marlowe, who is a Civil War hero of the North. But I wrote you guys a little email, so I'll read the little email, I guess. All right.
Old timey voice, please.
I need a filter, like the tin filter.
You got to play up that mid-Atlantic accent.
Yeah, transatlantic.
Or whatever, yeah.
With the completion of the first transcontinental railroad, telegraphs reaching across the ocean, and a new class of millionaires, America. All right, let me start over. With the completion of the first transcontinental railroad, telegraphs reaching across the ocean, and a new class of millionaires, America has entered a time known as the Gilded Age. Much like golden gilding, the shine is only on the surface. Below the elegant riches and social etiquette is a world of darkness. Get it? Because that's what we're playing.
Ooh, double entendre.
5 years have passed since the end of the Civil War. The survivors have returned home, attempting to rebuild their lives and make peace with the things they did to survive. The year is 1870. The game is Vampire 5th Edition. I don't know why I wrote this, but keywords: dark, mystery, isolated, dread.
I don't know why
Really,
I wrote these words.
crushing
I
our
wrote this a
social
while
media
ago.
game.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, give you an idea of what to expect.
They're just puppies in there. Make it weird.
All right. James Marlowe is considered an almost legendary for his accomplishments during the war. If you want, we can collectively decide what he did to be a war hero, or I can come up with that after. And if the players want to be involved in those antics, that's fine as well. But for the sake of this game, he is a well-to-do and important figure who has invited you all to his hometown of Black Valley. So the PCs are going to be going to Black Valley at his request. Black Valley is a small town on the west edge of Maryland in the Appalachian Mountains. It's a small, remote mountain town, and unless the PCs have previously visited Marlowe, chances are that none of them have ever been there. There's not really any reason to. Important thing about the setting, Maryland was part of the Union, but it is right on the border. And if you remember what Maryland looks like, it's the western edge is just a little kind of sliver. So you got a lot of Confederate sympathizers, a lot of weird mountain people, a lot of harsh wilderness. So plenty of opportunity for shit to go awry.
Getting a lot of letters from the weird mountain people.
I also put a note here. I don't really want the game to be about the Civil War. That will be relevant to your histories, but it's not really going to affect the plot. So don't feel like, it's going to be this whole thing about fucking. I don't want to do a bunch of bullshit politics either.
You don't want to do
place this in a historical era where we only really know about one thing.
Sure, I know, but it's okay. We are playing the World of Darkness. Monsters are real. Most people probably have a story about a creepy supernatural event that has happened to them. And most people probably don't talk about it, either because of the psychological effects it had on them or because they don't want everyone to think they're crazy. So, it's not unreasonable for your characters to believe in monsters. They're not like out in the open. It's not, something that's so common that you'd be like, oh yeah, there's a werewolf that lives in that building over there. It's the World of Darkness. It's on the fringes, it's in the shadows, but it's there.
Cool.
And as far as that applies to players, you might have had some sort of encounter with the supernatural. It's up to you. Maybe you believe in it. Maybe you think it was psychosis. You had a spell. I don't know. And if people, Dan, want to have some sort of supernatural connection or power,
of course,
I have kind of left a little bit of that available, but I don't want a party of wizards and werewolves.
Or vampires?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or vampires. With that in mind, let's jump right in. So
James Marlowe is our connecting point.
He's your connecting point. Yep.
So we may know each other. We do know Marlowe.
You definitely know Marlowe. You know him. You all know him well enough that he has asked you to come to his hometown because he needs your help with something. The game will probably most likely start with all of you en route to his home. And I would like you all to maybe figure out why he trusts you enough to ask you to help him. But he thinks, he for whatever reason, he needs to think that you are trustworthy or competent or a good friend or something.
Okay.
Cool.
Maybe you just owe him,
Yeah, it's a favor.
A debt
Yeah.
of some sort. I think from back when we first discussed this, I have a pretty good concept, so I can go first if people kind of want to think on it.
No, I'm good. I think I'm going to be a photographer spy.
Very clever. Very clever.
I like it, Matt. Writing it down.
Thank you.
Wrote it down with a pen.
I put a lot of effort into it. I think it's going to be fun.
Now you're figuring out the
Let's go. Do you want to have some kind of connection to the supernatural or something?
spiritual plane.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think
Nice.
I'd say What got me into photography was I saw some spirit orbs in a photo from one of the first times I played with it.
It's like literally verbatim, like how I wrote it.
Oh, you had a similar idea?
Oh yeah,
weird.
that's so
you
weird.
copied Matt's
That was-
idea?
Yeah, I copied
Wow,
Matt's
bro,
idea.
be original.
Yeah,
I
right.
don't want two characters like that though.
No, that's weird.
Dan playing an artsy European. What a stretch.
What a stretch.
Let me guess. The character is super serious.
No, he's gonna be goofy. He's gonna be super slapdick.
Is his name like Augustus Nero or something? All right.
Yeah, 100%.
Wait, you're a European?
You're European.
You're all going to be European.
Everyone's peeing. No, he's American. The idea is that he was a photographer / spy. The Civil War was the advent of photography during wartime. Guys that were taking photos usually had a wagon, et cetera, for all the chemicals and photo development that they were doing. And I'm thinking that he followed the troops around and was a spy for the Union, taking pictures of Confederate forces for a newspaper as part of his cover, but sending back troop movements and numbers to Marlowe. He gathered info while taking portraits of the officers, and maybe that's what helped kind of contribute to some of Marlowe's success. And I'm thinking that maybe the photography was his first brush with the supernatural. Something showed up in a photo that maybe didn't make sense, or it was kind of evidence in his mind, and maybe the plate broke so he couldn't like show it to people, that sort of thing. So that's my first crack.
Neat.
And he can shoot fireballs. So
Out of his camera.
out of his camera.
Nice.
There's a crazy anime about a guy that takes like camera or pictures of someone and kills them. I forget what it is.
Huh. So he would listen in on like conversations and then like
He was-
report that back somehow.
Yeah, well, he was working. I think the idea is that he was working for a Southern newspaper,
Oh, okay.
and so he would.
Unrealistic. None of them could read.
He was a photographer.
He was a photographer, right? So he was doing like portraiture, and he was providing pictures for the South, but he was sending his spy stuff to Marlowe in the North.
Okay. So do you think that he's a little sneaky? I mean, is he
Sneaky enough
is
to
he
not
like
get caught,
a
right?
clever kind of
Yeah, I mean,
spy?
I think at that point, I think all the chemicals and the process itself, he's probably bent towards that. So,
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he's not necessarily like courageous, like I'll go kill people. He's courageous, like he'll put himself in the thick of things.
Right. But he's probably never actually like fought in the war,
Yeah.
probably never killed anyone.
Yeah,
Never-
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. All right, cool.
I mean, he's drained a few people like with his vampire fangs, but
He is a Toreador.
yeah,
Oh, a Toreador who drains blood by taking pictures.
Yeah.
there we go.
Ooh.
Nice.
Nailed it.
Love it.
I had two character ideas. Just do it. One, my first one was a escaped slave who fled like probably early in the outbreak of hostilities, first year or two of the war, and ended up being kind of hired on as a camp hand for like a lot of the armies. They basically just they had some camp followers and they would hire from whatever. It's not like modern military where there's this massive logistics change. So a lot of especially on the towards the front line. So ends up working as a as a cobbler, because his background he tended horses. So hired on for that, and then pitch battle, and it was Marlowe's unit. That would be the connection. Pitch battle, they break through the Union lines, and a bunch of these rear echelon guys, wounded soldiers, everybody kind of jumped in and grabbed weapons and mounted like this pitch defense, like behind the lines, while the rest of the army kind of regrouped, and they held the lines. And Marlowe was there, maybe like he was wounded, he was in one of the tents, and he helped like rally these guys. And my guy jumped in the side, and they fought a pretty pitch battle, and end up like holding just long enough for whatever, turn the tide of the battle. And maybe he stayed on and fought for like the rest of that short campaign, but was never because he wasn't officially a soldier, that whole status
Never
thing,
really
raised some issues.
recognized.
Marlowe used his influence to basically, after the war, get him,
Emancipated.
The Emancipation Proclamation would have done that, but
Sure.
get him, basically a honorable discharge, like papers that show that he served, and
Gotcha.
help get him set up in the North. And then, he went into business and has been pretty successful running like a, maybe started as a cobbler, but basically runs like a whole tack shop, kind of big horse trading kind of thing. So that was one idea.
Josh playing a black guy. What a stretch.
Got permission from Matt, who speaks for all colored people.
Every single one.
And I also asked the only one black listener I know for sure listens to us, who also gave me a go ahead. No. So I think there's, I think that's, I don't know. It could be fun to play. The background doesn't really matter, except it's a, it tied into the story of how he came to, and basically kind of not owing Marlowe, but basically, I mean, he did serve honorably. Marlowe did that for him, and and then he's been successful since then.
So you think after that initial attack, the rest of his service was different? I mean, he wasn't a cobbler anymore. He was actually fighting and stuff.
Yeah, I think so. Then after that, maybe he started serving as a scout, but also like a skirmisher. Great on a horse. Good enough with a weapon. Was kind of frontiersy, and maybe not like fighting in line as a soldier, but like I said, scout and skirmisher. And wouldn't have to have been for that long. This could have been late in the war. Like maybe it was 1864, 1865. He served like the last year or so in that capacity. And then, like I said, he's probably not too far. I don't want to be in Black Valley, but maybe in Maryland or somewhere not that far.
Baltimore.
West Virginia, something.
Yeah.
So the other concept was did Marlowe grow up in Black Valley?
Yes.
Okay.
I was going to say, whatever, but yeah.
All right. Would it screw anything up? Well, basically the thought was someone that knew Marlowe, grew up with Marlowe, basically like a close friend from before the war, before he was anybody. Or if that doesn't work, because you don't want us to know Black Valley, maybe he knew him well in some other capacity, but he has a some level of physical disability where he isn't, he's not like completely crippled, but couldn't pass like an army physical. So he could never join the war, but he became kind of like a big, war drive, war effort,
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. You probably wouldn't be from Black Valley just because there's not much there. But I mean, I imagine Marlowe probably spent a lot of time in Washington or Baltimore or both,
Sure.
I mean,
Is he educated? Like,
yeah,
is he-
probably.
yeah.
He probably went to university.
You could probably go to university
you
together.
you could have known him since, boarding school or something.
Sure. And maybe I helped tutor him or something. Cause I want, he didn't serve with him in the way that Marlowe has become famous.
Right.
So he has a connection to him from something outside that.
Interesting. So would that character physically couldn't actually fight in the war?
Correct.
Do you think that that's something he kind of feels ashamed about?
I think so. Yes.
He would try to help in other ways.
Yeah. And so he kind of overcompensated. And I'm toying with the idea of, if I do that, whether maybe he played up the physical, maybe he does have a physical disability, but maybe somebody else could have found their way around it, could have found some way into the service, and he didn't. And there is a level of guilt and cowardice involved with that. But he's not a bad person. But so it's either he's just kind of, he compensated because he felt bad that he couldn't, or he didn't, and he felt really guilty.
I like this idea. I like the idea that he has some maybe physical deformity or something, but at the same time he saw these poor fucking farm kids with the same problem who did go off to war.
Yep.
And he's oh, that's the same thing I have. I don't know.
So Josh is Nosferatu. I'm Toreador. What
Well,
else do we have?
I like both of those character ideas. Yeah, I don't know. Is there one that you're leaning more towards, or
No, I mean, one of them is much more like a physical character, and one is much more not.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll just sit back and kind of see what
How
you
much
guys.
running is there in your game, Jake?
Well, I mean, I want to try to keep this session 0 open enough where I take all this information and build off of it.
Gotcha.
But my idea was that it was sort of a mystery type game. You know, it wasn't going to be like a big hack and slash. I wouldn't use World of Darkness for something like that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, like I said, the first character wasn't thinking of as like a combat machine, but he's hands on. He's skilled in trades and crafts and scouting and riding. And shit like that. John, Matt, you guys have any ideas kicking around?
Any juices flowing?
Yeah. So I had initially thought about like an inventor guy. Is more melded into. So he's from Switzerland, and he's like a machinist / tinkerer / arms manufacturer or arms inventor. And he traveled to the U.S. to test and build some, tinker with basically new weapon ideas, rifle ideas, changing, arms and testing them out in the actual war. And he met Marlowe in the field, and became friends, or Marlowe kind of took to him one way or another. I was also thinking he could be not just like a crafty guy, but also a bit of a huntsman, kind of a gentleman, type.
Like a sport hunter?
Yeah. So he would sport hunt with Marlowe when they weren't fighting.
Loves his fox hunts.
Yeah. And then Marlowe helped him test some stuff in the field. Maybe it was solidified by him helping Marlowe out of a jam in a battle. He didn't have to fight because he's not part of the war, but he did anyways to help Marlowe, to save Marlowe's life or to give him time. In terms of like seeing something that he shouldn't have, maybe during a hunt.
You don't have to have, but you can.
Yeah, but like that kind of thing where he was out hunting and saw a bear that was larger than anything he's ever seen before. Kind of shook him to the core.
Cool. So how long has he been in America?
Probably since the beginning of the war. So
okay. All right.
61, 62.
Yeah, I like that idea that maybe he at one point got into a weird kind of position of not being able to be neutral.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you don't have to have necessarily picked up a musket and started fighting yourself, but like, I don't know, maybe helped to smuggle ammunition or weapons like somewhere or something like that.
Yeah.
Like getting your shipments
right
to him. I like that idea.
Yeah. In terms of like testing, that I have a certain allotment, I have a carriage and all that. And it's really not for the Union soldiers, but in this case, they were down and kind of left it for them to take over and use.
Are you just doing all this so you can have a giant mechanical spider?
Yeah.
Saw that coming.
Okay.
Wicka wow wow west. So presumably he's called back because he's capable and he helped out Marlowe in the past. So
I mean, he's in this setting, he's also a very kind of unique individual. I imagine there's not a lot of people around here with that sort of skill set.
Right. Yeah, no. Yeah.
I mean, do you think he does more than just guns and weapons? I mean,
probably. I mean, he has a shop, I would imagine, in the city in probably in Baltimore.
It could be New York.
Or New York, yeah. Where he does most of the actual invention and manufacturing. And then but yeah, a big part of it was arms and other inventions that help out in war.
Do you think, is that just because those are the most profitable things?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But also on the side, he does his own projects that probably don't see the light of day, but
Okay.
are for himself.
Are you thinking? Do you imagine him being a sort of like mad eccentric inventor type? I mean, is
I don't know if he's like mad per se.
More like a analytical, like precise person. Or?
Yeah, I am kind of thinking of him as like a gentleman inventor, like, but he has his own, like he has his name that he puts out there for this arm dealership, and inventions that he makes are what he brings to market is very specific and precise and marketable, but he maybe has another side to him where he builds things that are not commercially viable.
Sure.
And, so maybe on the surface he's more gentleman on the but
do you
a bit
think
mad.
that he's do you imagine him being pretty well known? Would people be like, oh,
Now,
I
probably,
know,
yeah.
yeah, pretty well off, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, war's profitable.
Yeah. He probably built a certain amount of weapons that were used in the war. Maybe not a ton, not like a main rifle or anything like that, but
Is his name Joe Maxon?
yeah. But enough that whoever used them or knew about them would know his name.
Okay, Matt.
I mean, I'm not sure if Josh is. I had kind of a similar idea, but he was going to be from like Louisiana and a practitioner of voodoo, and was thinking probably like mostly was a cook and not really a soldier. So he fought because pretty much everybody had to fight in like the guerrilla fighting styles back down them parts.
Jake, you thought you were going to escape the soup, but you're not. It's coming back.
This dude's coming.
It's
But now it's
coming.
voodoo soup.
Yeah.
Matt, when you say he fought, do you mean he fought like in the Confederate Army?
No, Union. So like
Okay,
I'm thinking he probably got rescued like in a Union led offensive in the South, probably earlier in the war, and went north and was like
I don't think the Union won shit. not early on.
The Western campaigns, they did pretty well.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm sorry. Go on.
I forgot I forgot where I was. now.
I was asking about who he fought for. So you think he got rescued?
Yeah,
in a Union offensive.
Yeah, Union
and then
Union
joined up?
soldiers came down. Maybe he wasn't. He was taken off of a farm or lands and not necessarily in like a big, capture of something. But, they took him and he was like, well, I ain't got nothing else going on. I'm not. So he stuck around, kind of helped people, helped the Union in the South, but wasn't really like a spy or anything like that. Just kind of knew how to survive in the bayou.
Probably knew the area too.
Yeah.
Being a local, he actually could get from place to place.
Yeah, knew how to use the waterways, what to avoid, and that kind of thing. And I think being a cook probably would help him have met, quite a few different groups of soldiers moving down through those areas. He could be known as a trusted guide or something like that.
I like it.
And
That
back
might-
then they were pretty, what the fuck is the word? Superstitious and shit. So maybe the voodoo would be like a way to help ward off the evil energies that live down in those fucking swamps that they thought back then, all those fucking boogeymen.
Oh, they're there.
Boogeyman's real, bro.
Yeah, the U.S. did pretty well in the Western, because like Western is like east of the
Yeah,
Mississippi in
east
that
of-
theater.
Right.
But they that was all going pretty. That's where Grant came from. Grant,
No
like
kidding.
before he took over,
Okay. Yeah.
like the fucking army. What is it? Not, of the Potomac, right? The main army, the main Union Army in the East Coast, whatever. So actually, that might push me one way, Matt, because one of the kind of role playing hooks I had in mind for the first character, the former slave, was that his mother came from like a culture, either like, Caribbean island plantation, something like that, and was deeply into like voodoo, and then in this setting, like believing in supernatural shit and stuff like that, and as part of a very deliberate like break from his past, he really goes hard against like, I'm a Christian, I don't believe in any of that godlessness, that's all nonsense. Obviously it's real in this game,
Sure,
but that would kind of be like an initial kind of hook. But that's a little too like on the nose to have two characters like diametrically opposed like that. And then, I guess you trump me on playing
The black guy.
yeah.
interesting word usage.
And yeah, the second character, the Crip, he
As in like,
Have
Crip?
you
yeah, he's a gang
Crip?
member.
have you gotten permission from the disabled community to play like that?
oh man,
Offend
everyone.
Everybody.
several of our dozens of listeners.
There are dozens.
There are dozens of them. Yeah, I mean, I like that. I like the idea of playing a character that's, has a flaw, has a shortcoming, and
Yeah,
that's a pretty
cool.
obvious one.
Yeah.
Both the physical one, but also, I think the guilt aspect
Yep.
is a good
Yep.
thing to play up.
And John can make you like a cool exoskeleton.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially, I really like the idea of being the only character who did not
I like
serve
it.
in the
I
war.
like it.
in any way.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't really know, because I hadn't really thought about it, not really mechanically, but in a way, like what is he good at that the other characters aren't? Because like Dan's like the spy, so he's going to be good at all the.
Reconnaissance.
Well,
Well-
are you more like a social spy or like a fucking scout spy? Because those
So,
are very different things.
Yeah, I mean, he's. I think a lot of the information he picked up pretty passively. So, like, I don't think that he is necessarily like a social expert by any stretch.
Right.
He's a weirdo, artsy
I mean,
photographer.
I think part of being a social spy is being able to be in the company of fucking
like
generals and officers while they're talking about tactics
Exactly.
and them not thinking it's weird that you're there.
Correct.
real spies, not like James Bond spies.
Right,
Yeah.
right. You're not
Right.
necessarily like charming people, but
No, I mean, innocuous.
you
Yeah.
have to. I mean, either way, like social is probably going to be your main.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, but I wouldn't say he's necessarily like gregarious. I'd say
right.
he's more, he can kind of navigate, I guess, social conformities and things like that
Sure.
in order to be in the right place.
Read people well.
Yeah.
And so I guess it would make sense for my guy to, I don't want to, it's semi on the nose for me to play like a face man type, but in this case, like how would he have positively impacted the war effort? Probably by doing like, kind of being like a little politician-y, like
Sure.
war drives
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
recruiting drives and
War
fucking,
bonds, is that a thing back
yeah,
then? Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. And then I think he's relatively learned as well.
So
you
like manipulation and then intelligence kind of
Yeah,
thing.
or maybe more like on the persuasion-y side.
Yeah.
I see him less like not as heavy in guile,
Yeah.
more
Genuine.
You could be
persuasion.
earnest about it,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then also maybe he like dug into some things, like it would be because it'd be neat to give him like a little bit of an investigatory background. Like maybe he dug into some things to either uncover some corruption or help like streamline some resources, some issues that were happening. Like maybe he also helped with like logistics efforts, breaking strikes, getting things from the obviously he didn't do all of these things. I'll just kick around until like I found there were
Sure.
big issues with strikes and that did affect delivery of goods and shit like that.
Yeah.
So
Do you
Yeah.
need more killers, Jake?
No, I don't. But I was just thinking.
what?
Killers.
Oh.
But I was just thinking. So, Dan, John, and Josh, none of you you all contributed in some way, and with the exception of Josh, you were on the front line.
Yeah,
in
at some
some
point.
respect.
Yep.
But I don't think any of you have actually ever like shot a man. I don't know. Do you think you have, John?
I think in
For sport.
yeah, I mean, it's the most dangerous game. I'm thinking that the kind of inciting incident with Marlowe, he did have to pick a side that
Okay.
drastically.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's going to be, he's a like a machinist, so dexterity, intelligence, plus like firearms. Like he's going to be a crack shot.
Yeah. Like he practices what he makes.
What he preaches.
Did you sell weapons to both sides?
Yeah, of course.
So that's cool because I think that makes your connection with Marlowe even stronger.
Yeah.
That you actually like physically had to like fight beside him.
Yeah.
And that is a lot different than like, oh, I gave you guns.
Yeah.
No,
What
it's a lot
about
more.
Josh's character, like those hot nights at summer camp, growing up together?
Boarding camp. I would quiz him, and when he got answers right, I would hike up my crippled legs a little bit further.
Perfect.
That's correct. This is I like this because this contributes to his guilt / feelings of what's the word I'm looking for? Not insecurity, but what's that term? When you feel like not as
Inadequacies.
inadequacies. Yeah, I don't know it because I never felt it.
Holy shit.
That wasn't planned. I really couldn't figure out that word. I think because he's gonna look around and be surrounded by like 4 people who could be considered in some way or another like a fucking war hero, or at least like whatever
Contributors.
Yeah.
So, Dan, do you think that maybe there was a time where you had to get your hands dirty, like to prevent being caught or something? That might be interesting.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe I had to kill someone in order to not be revealed as a spy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to go that way, but I'm just throwing out ideas.
I think it's kind of, it lends a bit of, I don't know, maturity to the characters, I guess, and especially in that time and that place.
Well,
it
what
could
if-
be.
I was gonna say, what if you had to assist? You know what I mean? Somebody came to you and were like, we have to assassinate somebody. You need to be there to like, you're gonna take the picture of them.
Or like smuggle a fucking gun in your bag or
Yeah, like-
something.
And like you
Well-
get them to sit in somewhere and somebody, they assassinate this person and you're the reason that they were there at that point or something.
Yeah, it could kind of go either way. It depends whether, are you trying to add guilt or the complexity of, taking someone's life to a character, right? Because I think that's what the question is and how serious you are at it.
I'm already starting to fill out my character sheet.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah? What do
well,
I put
give it some thought.
under discipline here?
Give it. There's no discipline section. I took that off. So I did make these custom character sheets. I guess
think
we
World of
can
Darkness is going to
throw
have
them
some
up
copyright
online
issues.
somewhere.
Yeah.
But I took off all the vampire-y stuff, and there's some new things on here that we'll go over in a minute. But Dan, I don't know.
I'll
Think it over.
Yep.
You don't have to. I don't want to push you
Sure,
towards
sure.
that. Matt, let's talk about this sort of timeline. So your character starts off, he is a slave, presumably on a plantation in Louisiana, working as a cook.
Yeah.
And then the Union comes in, fights a battle, and then probably like sets up camp in this plantation, kind of takes it over. And I assume that they say like, okay, stay and help us, or just move on, go north. I imagine that's what they did.
Or maybe there's a skirmish that's happened nearby where he is held, and he takes that opportunity to escape and runs to them and is like,
Oh,
"Hey,
okay.
like I'll take me with you, and I can help you through this."
Okay, I like it. So that's cool. So a more
Active.
proactive instead of reactive role.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it. And so he goes to them and says, he escapes, goes to them because he sees like the opportunity. Because I imagine escaping wasn't the hard part. It was what the fuck do you do after that? When
Yeah,
you're,
like how
out
do
in
you
the
get
forest?
out of there?
Right,
You
right.
just run away
So-
from a farm, but they're gonna chase your ass down.
Right. So knowing that like the the Union soldiers were close by, he took that opportunity to escape and go to them, and then basically offered his service in return for protection.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I like it. And I assume that Marlowe is the guy that you talked to.
If that's okay with you, I was even thinking
Absolutely.
it didn't even have to be him. It could be somebody else. And down the road later
Sure.
on in the war, Marlowe met him. Maybe, I don't know, if Marlowe was into supernatural stuff, then maybe he came and like asked his advice once at some point somewhere.
Oh, interesting. All right, cool. So you were in the war for a while then. Like,
Yeah.
this is how you got out, but then you fought. So
Yeah, like they saved my life, so I'm
yep. So so you were in it for the long haul.
Yeah, because
And,
I'd say I got that slave mentality of like I'm now they own me, but I'm helping that. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it would be a big mental thing to get over being owned by somebody all your life, and then it's like, all right, well now what do I do? Make your own decisions. Yeah, I don't know how to do that.
Right. I imagine actually the structure of a military would help that.
Yeah.
All right, so you fought for a while, and then you were thinking that he came to you with like a question about the supernatural.
Yeah, I think it was probably, he was a black guy from the bayous of Louisiana, and it was known that he used to, dabble with chicken bones, and
Okay.
other slaves would talk to him about stuff, and he'd do weird shit.
Yeah,
And maybe
so I
Marlowe-
imagine for him to come to you for that reason, I imagine you would have to have a sort of reputation within the camps or the whatever, like, oh, that guy, he serves with like the 405, that guy, he's into voodoo and stuff,
Yeah, exactly.
So the voodoo aspect of the character so that's something that's going to be a big part of him. Like it's something that he does a lot.
I'd say so, yeah. But I don't know if he's ever really seen anything through it, Voodoo is it's a real religion, but there is a lot of like show that goes into it.
Well, that was my next question was going to be, is there an actual supernatural element to this?
I think maybe he's touched it a couple of times, but never actually like, understood or really realized what it was. You know what I mean? Like having those deja vu dreams, but he's able to like just kind of pinpoint them a little bit more. Like,
How do you think he describes himself? Like,
I'd say he's probably relatively like quiet, but once you get him going, he's very like outgoing and
Okay.
extroverted. You know what I mean?
Like,
once you kind of
once you
engage
actually-
with him, he's
Right.
He's opened up, but otherwise he's kind of sits back and does his job kind of thing.
okay, all right. Do you think he like considers himself like a shaman, so to speak?
He probably considers himself a shaman. But is he? Not really. So I don't think he's going around with like the headdresses and the all out for it, but I'd say he does do, because it was, it wasn't supremely, they weren't going to accept him to do voodoo on the plantation. So it was a very quiet sort of backwater thing, but it was known that, he was the one to go to.
Right. Okay. Sounds good. What do you think Marlowe came to you about?
I don't know, maybe something about like spirits of soldiers in a swamp or something like that. Like there were, some soldiers had been lost in a swamp, and there had been, somebody had been sent out to find them, and they hadn't found the bodies, but they heard, things out in the swamp. And I think knowing he was from the bayous and had this kind of touch, they came and asked him like, hey, do you know anything about what's going on out there? And he's, well, you got to watch out for them spirits.
Uh-huh. Okay. Cool. All right. So Do any of you know each other?
Yeah, I think I would like to, but what have you guys done since the war? So I'm thinking now that, so he met Marlowe, they went to boarding school together, maybe even university if Marlowe did that at all.
Yep.
And then I think maybe my guy, how old is Marlowe, by the way? Because he's going to be similar in age.
I got to do a little bit of research, but probably in his 30s or 40s, yeah. Which is like old for that time.
Yeah, perfect. I think he became a politician, he was like a state level congressman, and maybe represented like part of Baltimore.
Okay. His family, Marlowe's comes from money too.
Okay.
His family basically owns Black Valley.
Cool.
So
then, I think same kind of background would make sense, or that part of it.
Okay.
I think he also, he strove for some of those things because, maybe like not just Marlowe, but maybe he had a brother who also was like him, except also physically better at everything. And, maybe he also was accomplished, or I actually know he died in the war. I think that would be cooler.
Okay.
His brother, but also awarded for valor, died, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I think so he became that before the war, and was a big, advocate of staying in the Union, and was a big part of, beating the support, going around the state and blah, blah, blah. So anybody that maybe, got into a business or an enterprise, a way that I think he also worked to try to kind of help guys after the war, use his influence to help, people that did shit during the war as kind of, doing the right thing, but also sort of making himself feel better.
Yeah.
So I don't know if any of you guys that fits in with something
Do you think he kept up with, do you think he spoke with Marlowe often, like via letters in the war?
Yeah, I think he probably.
So maybe instead of being in New York, my guy, his shop is in Baltimore.
Okay.
And we know each other. And you basically hooked me up with Marlowe to go out on the field and test some of my arms.
Okay, I like that.
Maybe we were hunting buddies too.
Do we want to try to do some bonds?
I'm thinking that I'll probably like post-war be working for a newspaper somewhere. So, I mean, that kind of leaves it pretty open-ended.
Plenty of opportunity to meet people. Yeah.
I guess I don't know if I want him to still be like
a politician.
Right.
Be a little weird, but
I mean, it's not like fucking congressmen that can't take off and not do shit now. Back then, it was even, I'm sure,
and no one's gonna know your face either.
Right? And he's a state. Like he's a state representative.
Yeah, you could be. Yeah, I don't see why not.
I don't need him to be. I'm just if he isn't, why and like what is he doing?
Was he like involved in Reconstruction? Or
this could
like
be
that?
the first role playing game we've ever played where someone plays a member of Congress.
Well, just the state legislature.
Right.
Maybe he gave up his seat to run for.
Nice.
Congress and lost.
Yeah.
Probably to a war vet.
Probably.
Definitely to a war vet.
Actually,
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And
now what the fuck?
He's like
and
looking
now what the
for.
fuck is he doing?
Yeah.
That that might have just happened. And I mean, it's only 5 years past. Maybe he did, served out one more term, and maybe he just ran in like either 68 or 70. I don't know.
When that actual.
Well, I guess a congressman would be every 2 years, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you think your opponent ran a smear campaign about you not being
maybe
having
that
not
came
served?
up a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah. How about that? Like, is 1870 or 1871?
I was saying 1870. I'm not dead set on it though. It's
Okay.
not like, there was an eclipse on this day. It has to be. No.
Either like he just lost the election because that would be November of 1870.
Yeah, we can do 1871. Be a couple months.
So
later.
you ran out your state congress.
Well, no. Let's say you just fucking lost. We'll say game is going to be. We'll say it's late November.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sweet.
Yeah, and my guy would have been just working in Baltimore, and probably is about ready to go to Europe because of the Franco-Prussian War. To be honest, and then he gets the call from Marlowe.
late November 1871.
1870. If you
1870.
wanted to literally, like,
1870,
that
yep.
would have.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, okay, we've got your motivation kind of nailed down. You get this letter from Marlowe,
Yeah.
and you're like about to leave. This is basically not, you're going out to his home is going to cost you a lot of money probably because of the delay.
Yeah.
So why you care enough?
Right. I mean, maybe the whole thing that happened with me and Marlowe in the field was mutual. He saved my life and I saved his life to a certain extent.
Battle brother.
Yeah, like we got into a real hot water with a Confederate, a scouting force, and we're able to fend them off, and together got out of there unscathed.
Okay.
And to a certain extent, he's probably helped after the war. He's come by the shop, and
Right.
his name helps get business.
Yeah.
So I feel like I owe it to him.
I mean, and also like if you're like really, if you're close with him, then it could be like, you might just be kind of like, oh, my things are being shipped and
And might as well say
coming
goodbye.
to say goodbye
anyways.
because
Yeah.
I probably won't ever come back.
Yeah.
'cause it's 1870.
Yeah. it's gonna take a while to
It's
get over there.
1870 and I'm taking a boat across the Atlantic.
Groovy.
And I probably would have met Matt's character, at least seen him in the field. I don't know if we had interacted, but
Well, let's do some bonds.
Matt,
Yeah.
what did
Let's
you
do it.
did you say what you've done since the war?
No. I've been thinking about it. I'm not sure. Maybe he headed east after the war and like tried to get work in one of the bigger cities as, just a cook
How about
or something
Baltimore?
like that. Yeah, I mean, possibly.
Is it two on the nose if all four of us are kind of
I mean, it could have been
No,
one
not
of
at
those
all.
things where he kind of bounced around looking for work and
Yeah.
wasn't really able to find anything worthwhile, and then eventually we ended up in Baltimore, and then Marlowe called.
Absolutely.
Maybe I was making my way north. Like maybe I followed Sherman or some shit like that to Atlanta and Savannah, and after that, like went north slowly, making my way to New York, the big city.
The big city.
I like it.
Nice.
So do we want to try to do like Fate style writing stories and passing it around, or I mean,
we can, or
It doesn't matter to me too much. I mean, I think we've already integrated the characters pretty well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can, we could do it as an exercise, but that's something we could also do, obviously, off the mics. Because
Kingsley Burke.
Kingsley.
Ooh.
Kingsley Burke.
King Burke. Oops. I have a name as well.
Go.
Noah Fankhauser.
Fankhauser.
Fankhauser. I am Noah Fankhauser. I am Inventor. He's not going to be that German. He'll be a
Eine kleine. Okay.
What was your last name, Josh?
Burke. Burke.
And your last name, John?
Fankhauser. Fankhaus.
F-A or F-E?
Fankhausser.
Did you guys look at the mortal character creation guide that I made?
Yeah.
Nope.
Are you using that?
Haven't
I'm
yet.
looking at it. Are
Okay,
there
no.
bonds? Doesn't list bonds, right?
So I did.
Phrase.
You see, I left a section on there for bonds.
Yeah.
I wanted to do it basically like phrases or keywords or whatever.
Yeah.
And acting on those bonds
cool.
and on those phrases and keywords is how you will regain lost willpower points.
Cool. So we should definitely do bones.
Yeah.
I mean, but we don't have to do the whole write a story and pass it around.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
We can if you want, or it can just be a phrase or a connection or how you feel about someone. If we want, we've now learned from past experience. Sometimes it can be better to leave that blank and fill it in when it
presents itself.
when it makes sense.
Yep.
When we know how the characters are interacting.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you think you have an idea of how it works now, then do it. Otherwise, wait until you know how your character is going to interact with the other characters. To start with, you should probably all have a bond with Marlowe. And then, that's it for now. Just a bond with Marlowe. And then if you have one for another player, then by all means, but it doesn't have to be yet.
I got a name.
Yeah.
It'll be Benton Beauclair.
Benton.
Benton.
Spell, please.
Benton with one of those little fucking fancy French things over the O.
Yep.
That's how he's going to describe it as it's spelled, because he was just known as Ben, but he's free, so he got to pick a name. French sounds fancy.
I love it.
Beauclair. Beauclaire.
Make it French. Put 3 extra fucking vowels in that bitch.
There's an O, a U.
That is Z.
We should get Dan's within the next month or two.
Yeah.
Working on it.
RomanNameOrigin.com.
Marcus Aurelius. Is that taken?
Actually, I'm sorry. That's not my name. Kingsley Burke the Fourth.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So sorry.
Plenty of ways
You
for
know
his
what?
political
I'm
opponents to
deliberately
have.
not going to add it on there so you can correct me every time I don't include it.
I don't think he would. He's
Yeah,
he's
sure.
not pretentious.
So is he the eldest brother, or is his
Yeah.
brother? Yeah.
Yeah, he's the oldest brother.
Hmm.
I think he only had one other brother who died in the
No,
war,
his younger brother's the third.
Yeah.
and then maybe he has a couple sisters,
Yeah.
married families, like probably not no connection, but they're kind of doing their own thing.
Right.
All right. I will go over a few things on these character sheets that are a little weird. So first of all, Vampire 5th edition, how does it work? Well, you'll notice that you have attributes at the top, much like D&D, except there are 9 of them. They're broken into 3 categories: physical, which is strength, dexterity, and stamina; social, which is charisma, manipulation, and composure; and mental, which is intelligence, wits, and resolve. So you're going to have between 1 and 5 rank in all of those abilities. So those are your attributes. And then under that, we have skills. These are more kind of boiled down specific things, like athletics, etiquette, insight, brawl, perform, persuasion, all kinds of stuff.
Larceny. I like it.
Yeah. And those are going to be from 0 to 5. So you're not necessarily going to be good at all of them. And the way this game works is pretty simple, kind of similar to Star Wars. When I call on you to make a roll, I will tell you a combination of an attribute and a skill to roll. So I might say roll strength plus brawl, and whatever your combined pool is, you'll roll that many 6-sided dice. Every 6 plus is a success. And depending on the task you're doing, there will be a target number of successes that you need. That's it. Pretty cut and dry. Pretty simple.
2 10s is a critical.
2 10s counts as a critical. So that I believe 2 10s counts as 4 successes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we don't have any blood hunger, so we're fine there.
No blood hunger.
Sample attributes. Kingsley Burke the Fourth has physical 1 strength, 2 dex, 2 stamina; social 4 charisma, 2 manipulation, 3 composure; mental 3 intelligence, 3 wits, 2 resolve. 2, if this is still the same, like for comparison, 2 is like human average, right?
Yeah, it is. Yep. And a 5 is like you are the greatest in the world.
Yep.
Yeah. You'll notice with the character creation guide I gave you, you cannot start with a 5. You can,
But
But
use a merit.
you have to take a merit in order to start with a 5. And the merit is literally called world class. You are one of the best. Turn a 4-point attribute into a 5. So I wanted to make sure that was an option, but just to point out, just to let you know how rare that is. Unless you're a vampire and then you have a 6, 7, 8, whatever.
Depending on your generation.
Yeah. I wanted to throw out an idea I had for a house rule. I think Josh is going to like this one. So what I was thinking is whenever you perform a check, I'm going to tell you what to roll, and there's a target number. You might need 3 successes. And my thought was that if you have twice as many dice as you need successes before you roll, so if I say roll strength and brawl and your pool is 8 dice and I say you need 4 successes, instead of rolling, you can take an auto succeed with a complication. So if you don't want to risk failing, because you should succeed, because it's 50-50 shot on each die.
6 is always a success. 6 and up.
Yep.
6 and up is a success.
Okay.
So if you have double the pool to the difficulty, you can take essentially a mixed success.
That's a great rule.
Cool.
So, and just to play off of that, that's the concept of a mixed success is very
Straight out of Monster of the Week.
Right.
Yeah.
Just kind of sharing that with everyone.
And I mean, I welcome you guys to give input as to what the mix part of that will be.
Okay.
I don't need to make it up, because I fucking hate when the charisma guy with like 10 pool, you just
Fails.
roll bad,
Right.
and you're like, oh, cool, dice.
And then are you getting? I don't know if you're getting to the skills, but it's not like Vampire. It always used to be you had like 1, 2, 3 pools, and you had to pick like which column they went into.
Yeah, I think that they did away with that.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
So now you pick your kind of pool of points. So either you are a jack of all trades, so you're pretty good at a lot of skills. You're a specialist, you're really good at one skill and kind of okay at most. And balanced is balanced.
Yeah. So, for example, balanced, you would get 3 3-dot skills, 5 2-dot skills, and 7 1-dot skills.
Yeah, jack of all trades, you get 8 2-dot skills, so you're pretty good at a lot
And
of skills.
10 1-dot skills. So
Yeah.
you have pretty much everything.
Yeah. Like my guy's probably going to be a specialist just because of who he is.
Mm-hmm.
I assume drive is like also horse riding wagons, things like that.
Yeah. Did I not change the name?
No.
Where did you?
I
you
suck.
put that in the Nastygram.
I take
folder,
back
right?
everything good I said about your game master ideas.
Where's drive? Oh, I see it. Fuck.
What's it supposed to be?
I think Jake.
It's drive. It's fucking drive. There's cars.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's
You want to drive a train?
it's canon now.
I do.
Yeah, I guess that'll be riding, driving, airplaning,
Oh, ballooning.
ballooning, dirigible. And everyone gets 4 specialties, and a specialty would be, pretty obvious, but if you took drive, then dirigible would be a specialty.
Yeah.
And is it one higher?
It's 1 higher.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's not like, because I remember it used to be in World of the Darkness, you got a especially automatically for anything 4 and higher. But
No, not anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
that's-
just get 4 specialties. So
Okay, cool.
just on the line next to the thing, just write a specific type of the use of that skill.
Got it.
We are using merits and flaws. Obviously, a lot of the ones out of the vampire book will not be applicable, but I have made a list of ones that I think will apply. Yeah. Anyone know of any that they want to take?
Oh yeah. I mean, it just definitely makes sense. Contacts, influence, resources are, probably like
Yep.
no-brainers. And then obviously a pretty big physical flaw in some sort.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Supernatural for Dan.
I'll read that one. For some reason, you aren't quite human, or perhaps you have been blessed or cursed by something. This advantage is a catch-all for supernatural powers and is less specifically open-ended.
I've really worked that into my photographer background.
You can take that as a merit for 2 to 5 points, and however many points you take will depend on how extreme it is, or as a flaw, a curse for 2 to 4 points.
Yeah, I'll probably have some of those, Jake, but not. I'm going to tone them down because I'm only going to really look at what's going to be applicable to this game,
Of course.
is in.
Yep.
So like he's going to have some influence here,
right?
But
which
not
is
much.
why I put a note in there. Like, keep in mind when you pick these,
right?
Yeah. So traumatic past is a fun flaw that I made up, and we should talk about dementia. So traumatic past is a flaw that something in your past has left lasting effect on you. Pick one dementia. You may take this flaw multiple times. So dementias are, I wrote a little thing. The world of darkness is a scary and troubling place. Coming to grips with the things they see or do can sometimes have lasting effects on people. Anytime a PC's willpower pool is reduced to 0, they suffer some long-term effect in the form of dementia. This can be a real psychological disorder, or it can be expressed as a simple phrase similar to a bond. Much like bonds, players will receive willpower for role-playing them appropriately. However, players can also lose willpower for resisting the compulsion associated with dementia. So if you take one of these, you might, the most basic example, say you have a phobia of water. If you want, and so I could essentially invoke that and be like, there is water, you can't cross it unless you spend a willpower point. Also, if you were to use that in a role-playing way, you would recover willpower, basically rewarding you for, playing up your flaws.
Subterfuge is basically like lying and intrigue and shit.
Yes.
Well, I'm a politician, so I don't have any of that.
No.
Good, that 3 in politics will definitely come in handy.
John, you look like you're done over there.
I'm getting there.
Bruh, I haven't even picked a single skill yet.
I took a specialist and did 4 on craft with a specialty in machining. 3 firearms, specialty in rifle, 1 melee, 1 survival, 1 etiquette, 3 insight, 2 persuasion, 2 awareness, 2 finance, 1 science, 3 technology with a specialty in firearms. I have 1 more specialty, which I might use for melee. May have played around with swords when he was
fencing
in Switzerland.
A little bit
of fencing.
that.
Yeah.
I'm sure that marketing is going to come in real handy.
What, my finance? My 2 in finance? Oh, and machining?
Oh, machining. Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
Yeah. Machining.
Marketing.
Not marketing. My handwriting's awful. I'm thinking basically he was known. The thing that made him well known in the arms dealing circles is his rifled long rifles.
Okay, like a rifled barrel.
Yeah, used for snipers and scouts.
Yeah, because they're mostly straight bore at that point, right?
Yeah, there are mini ball, which is not a ball; it's a bullet shape.
Bullet shape, and it's got like one spiral.
Yeah, but combining that with a rifle.
Yeah.
Rifled bore. But it was manufactured in low numbers, so specialty units got them. But that's basically it.
The big thing now in the late 60s, early 70s is the repeating. not those 70s is the repeating rifle. This is like Wild West time. So like the like the Winchester, like the pump action,
the lever action.
Yeah, lever action. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. Big game changer right there.
Yeah,
whoa, you just shot me twice.
And cartridge bullets.
Cartridges,
is a big one.
Yeah, and Well, I mean, revolvers were already around, but those are much more prominent.
But them being, and also having revolvers with cartridges as well means you can reload faster.
I was thinking, I mean, I don't know if any of you are going to be like, it would, I mean, it wouldn't make a lot of sense for you to be all packing a bunch of heat, but if anyone does have a weapon, we can talk about that, but I was going to kind of just make up rules for a couple basic, like, you know, like a lever action rifle, musket, and a couple different pistols, basically.
He probably brought a hunting rifle with the idea
Hoping
that
to get a good hunt in.
maybe Marlo wants to go hunting. One last hurrah.
I don't think Benton is going to carry a weapon openly. It's probably still a little dangerous for maybe walking around with something. But I'd probably say he definitely has like brass knuckles or something like that, like some sort of melee weapon that he always keeps on him. Probably a big ass fucking knife too.
You know what I like about the changing the specialties? Because before your specialties were always in your very highest things. Sometimes
Yeah.
it makes more sense to have a specialty
And a low one.
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
because you're like, well, I'm not that great at that.
Even
But there's
in-
one thing,
Or
that-
even like an untrained thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Especially just one more, right?
yeah.
yeah.
Wait, so specialty is what? You pick 4, you get
Pick
how many?
four skills and pick like one very specific use of that skill. And,
Like-
and just
So I'm doing technology and photography.
Okay.
I have oration under performance.
Cool.
Yep, and just write in whatever your kind of particular specialty is next to the skill, and whenever you're doing that thing, you get to add an extra die. I'm not sure if any of you guys are familiar with the 5th edition rules at all. I have been kind of reading through the rule book, and we'll kind of talk about that as it's necessary. I'd like to try to make the game in a way where we can kind of ease into it.
Do you have a rule book?
I do. I have it at home.
I have one too.
Um,
You want me to bring?
Sure, yeah, having 2 would be good.
It's none of the ones here, right?
But I'm probably no, it's not. I'm probably not going to use. There's rules for like social encounters, and I don't really like them. It's like you take willpower damage during like do like
Yeah, I don't
social
like that
attacks.
shit.
No.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't really dig it.
I'd like to mostly just look at it for like merits and flaws.
Absolutely.
kinda.
Well, I pretty much gave you a comprehensive list of every merit and flaw that
It's
is
applicable to mortals.
Really?
Yeah, there's not a lot, and
A
there's
lot of
nothing
gave you
were
all the page
supernatural.
There's
numbers.
nothing physical.
I don't think there was. I mean, if you want
Usually
to,
there is.
I don't think there was anything physical that was like not supernatural. I
Really?
don't know. Yeah,
They used
I
to
don't
be
know.
so fucking
Maybe
many. Remember, it was
There's
like,
it's there's not a lot. Yeah.
damn.
You can probably find a PDF.
Did
of
you
it
want
anyways.
to like make something up about like your thing, or
Yeah.
or are you just gonna take really low physical attributes to reflect it?
I mean, he has a 1 strength, 2 dex, 2 stamina, but I think it's something more than that.
Uh huh.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he's limited mobility, like whatever you want to call it. I think he probably has like kind of, I don't know if I don't think he actually he doesn't need crutches or like
Okay.
a wheelchair. He's can get around.
Here's a limp. Maybe like a cane.
Yeah, a limp and a cane, lame.
Yep.
That's probably what they would call it then.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. And what do you think that would like game effect would be?
I mean, I think it's probably like pretty obvious on any,
Sure.
like he has a 2 dexterity, but if it's like jump out of the way of something.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we would basically treat it the way that you would treat it in like Fate Core, like it's something that can almost be invoked in a way.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to.
Yeah. Why don't we call that a 2-point flaw, and just write it?
That's it.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
You can
yeah. I guess
choose-
they used to be like, that's different. There used to be like
Yeah.
6 to 8 point like flaws and merits. Like they're only like 1 to 3 now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I think 3 is the most of anything.
Okay. That's very different.
And the fact that you
I'm
can just
thinking
put
of-
1 point into an attribute and raise
Mhm.
it, right?
Oh, does it work like that?
Is that how it works,
Huh?
Jake?
What?
Like when you get
I'm just going to buy merits with them.
Oh, okay. It just shifts within merits and flaws? Because it used to be that it would give you points
No,
in character
but those
creation.
5 points are just for merits and flaws.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just the 5 points.
The 5 points in the advantages, merits, and flaws section.
Oh,
Okay.
I didn't see
5 points.
that. Got it. Okay.
Yep.
So you buy flaws
No. You get extra
okay.
points for taking flaws.
for merits.
You get extra points that you can use for
got it,
merits,
got it,
right?
got it.
Wait. So if I take traumatic past, I get 2 more.
Yeah,
If
you'd
you
have
take
7.
traumatic pass, you'll have 7 points. Yeah.
Okay.
Power up.
Supernatural.
Dan.
Matt, are you thinking of taking Glimpsed Beyond the Veil?
Yeah, buddy.
Ooh.
And traumatic past?
It just applies
Oh, yeah.
to brothels.
They kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, substance use. That might be interesting.
Yeah, I was
A
thinking
little
about
morphine.
that. Actually makes more sense for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, cool.
What would a drug-based specialty of medicine, what would you call that?
Yeah.
Chemist?
Chemist.
Chemistry. Yeah.
Chemistry, yeah.
Not, but it would be more medicine than science. Because not like really...
I'm going to have
Not like
chemist for
chemistry.
science for my chemicals and stuff.
that's a different... Like,
Yeah.
chemist,
It would be a different use of it.
Yeah.
Chemist is like the
Yeah.
old term for like, right? Like
For someone who
Old
worked.
time.
Yeah. Old time.
Oh, tiny.
Are you going to have a little morphine addiction there?
I think
little
I
bit.
think something.
Hmm.
Yeah.
He's playing Dr.
Just
Gregory
like a one
House.
just like a one a one
Nice.
point.
Cool.
I think he does grapple with like pain.
Yeah, yeah.
Substance use. That's a merit, right?
How good are you at taking it?
I'm real good.
Yeah, some of those I didn't write out everything, but some of those things are merits and flaws.
Yeah.
Like if you look up looks, you guys don't have the book in front of you, but there is an option for like a flaw and a merit
Yeah, I took linguistics 1, resources 2, and looks 1 for merits. I don't know what else I want to take for merit, so I might leave it open. And I haven't taken any flaws. Really, no.
How many merits and flaws can you pick? You just
5
up to
points.
5 points, but if
Yeah,
you buy,
well, flaws will add points.
so if you just pick every flaw, you can pick every merit, or
Yeah.
Don't be Keith.
Did we say subterfuge was more like lying and stuff like that?
Subterfuge.
Or is it generally just like you're sneaky? Not physically.
Yeah, it is like lying.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's stealth, which is physical. I gotta see what kind of swords they use.
It's really hard to put a 1 into any attribute.
Yeah. I did manipulation. I'm not really manipulative.
My
I went with
social skills
charisma.
are basically my survival skills.
Yeah,
so
that's all.
it had to go into one of my physical skills, but I'm like, I have to carry cameras and shit. I have to be like pretty nimble with my hands.
Yeah.
So I can't take a punch.
No stamina.
No stamina.
is this online so I can look up what resources actually means?
That just means how much
money you have.
Yeah.
Oh well, I ain't got none of that shit.
No, you don't have any money.
It's because I'm taking 2 flaws.
What are the 2 flaws you're taking?
The traumatic past and supernatural curse.
Oh shit!
God damn.
Be
I'm
aware.
also taking supernatural
Jake will
blessed.
fucking make you pay for that.
Well,
I'm excited.
I figure it's like
You're
if
blessed
you
and
have-
cursed?
I figure. Well, wouldn't you have to have? If you have 1, wouldn't there be some sort of like
I like it.
negative
there's,
effect to it?
Sure.
I don't know. I feel
There's
weird
a-
just being like,
there's
"Oh,
a
I'm blessed,"
cost.
but
There's
there's
a
no.
cost to pay.
But it gives me so many extra fucking points, and I don't know what to do with them all.
A dementia is not insignificant.
No.
By having a dementia, Matt, from the traumatic past, that's a lot of juice that you're
But in a way, I mean, it's
don't- I'm saying-
it's also a role playing opportunity. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like I would almost suggest everyone take that in some way, because it gives you an opportunity to role play something that can gain you willpower points.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but obviously you're role playing a negative attribute of your
Are,
character.
are there examples of dementias?
No, because I made it up.
But you didn't make up dementias, did you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think that was.
I think that's more of just a Malkavian thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
They might have a list for Malkavian somewhere.
So Matt, what is this supernatural blessing and curse?
I don't really know what in-game terms it would be, but I think the blessing and the curse is that I can, like, see it. You know what I mean? That I can touch upon it.
Okay. Like you are aware of things that other people aren't aware of. Like you see the supernatural more than other people.
Yeah, or I see like the after effects of things. You know what I mean? That I can't really control any of it, but I see the things that happen. Like, you know, I could see, you know, back during the war, like it would be when I was leading people through the bayou. Like one night I'd get like, I'd be doing my little fucking thing before bed, and like I would see like, oh, if we go down this path, we're gonna run into something that's gonna kill us. And like I would see that in my dream, but never really be able to like fuck what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
You just get like a bad feeling about something, not necessarily knowing why.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it always seems to pan out, and that's why he's been able to survive for as long as he did, because he just gets a feeling on when to pick his moments.
Cool. Okay. How does that manifest as a curse? How does it manifest negatively, you think?
I think it gives him, you know, it'd be like nightmares, like that he sees things that, you know, aren't even necessarily directed to, you know, specifically about him. He sees other things happening and, you know, in his dreams, and he has no idea what those messages mean. You know what I mean?
Okay. I like the idea of it being almost like he doesn't know. Maybe he doesn't know necessarily when they're real and when they're just regular sort of nightmares, or like the same thing that warns you to maybe avoid a place also prevents you from doing things that might be helpful to you if you read the situation wrong, like if you interpret it wrong.
Yes.
Cool. All right, I like it. Yeah, I mean, maybe before we actually play, like give some thought to make up a story about like a time that it's happened, you know, like something that you can like drop like in game, like to describe it to the other players or something, if that should come up. I don't know.
Okay.
Or like yeah, so you think it happens when he's asleep or just like in visions or like?
Yeah, I think sleep there could also be visions. And that could be why he keeps traveling too, is he can't really lock down a job anywhere because he has, you know, sort of like that PTSD thing. He's, you know, eventually sort of has some sort of episode of some kind.
So in modern days, we'd call this schizophrenia, but we're calling it voodoo.
Yeah.
Cool.
Matt, by the way, I uploaded the rule book into that folder. So.
Oh, fuck yeah, bud.
Oh, damn, son. Are we getting in trouble now?
Yep. Cut that out. Edit that out.
Holy fuck, 431 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt, also give some thought to the glimpse beyond the veil. You've seen what horror lives in the darkness and little can surprise you. Take 2 extra dice on willpower rolls when encountering something others believe impossible. So I'm sure you'll come up with a cool sort of story about what the fuck happened to you.
Oh, yeah.
And that will be also, is that going to be directly tied to your traumatic past flaw, or is the traumatic past your life as a slave?
I'd probably say it's a part of my life as a slave, not necessarily the entirety of its existence, because, you know.
Also, those things could be connected. I mean, maybe one of the fucking slave masters was a vampire or some crazy shit like that, you know?
You said there were no vampires.
I said that there was monsters. Doesn't have to necessarily be a vampire, but, you know, like maybe they were doing fucked up shit.
Blood rituals.
Or maybe it was he just doesn't know that it was a vampire. He saw it as something else.
Yeah, I mean, he might just call it a devil or something.
Dan, do you have a character name?
Yep. Silas Keene. Keene.
Silas.
These characters all fit pretty damn well into the idea that I had originally had, which is cool. Less work for me.
Nice.
What did you take for merits and flaws, Dan? Are you still working on
That's the part I'm working on.
it? Okay. John, did you finished?
I got
1 point
I
left.
have 1 point left. I'm kind of leaving in the air.
Cool.
Yeah. And I don't have any flaws yet. I might think on that.
Did you go specialist?
Yeah, I have a 4 craft
A 4 craft with a specialty in firearms?
in machining.
Machining?
Yep.
Okay. So 5 dice when you're machining.
Yeah.
I assume
Which
you
will
have
never
a
happen.
machine shop, but
Yeah. And I have 3 in firearms with a specialty in rifle.
okay.
Is there a list of the specialties, or do you just make it up?
Oh, we're just making it up.
Make them ups.
Oh boy.
So you have a high craft in stews, especially in stews.
Not again.
I was thinking about putting if craft would be where I would put food.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
And his food is just cooking too generic of a specialty? And is that even fucking useful for me to waste a specialty on cooking?
Yeah, fucking stew can be useful,
I
buddy.
mean, we've had entire game sessions dedicated to stew. So
I mean, Stu has given us advantage rolls.
I wouldn't worry too much about everything being super effective. It's not D&D. You're not going to party wipe just because someone didn't take a 16, Constitution.
All right, so
Making
taking a
character
specialty
decisions
just
is
gives
good.
me 1 extra dice in that skill.
Yep.
So cool. Craft has now 1.
So you didn't take
has
craft at all, but
No.
you took cooking. So that kind of makes sense. Like you don't know how to make a gun.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not so good at weaving a basket, but
Right. That's the thing about this game is there are some kind of very open-ended skills that cover many things that might not be connected. It's not perfect. None of them are.
what would you call what psychics and stuff do? Like the way they read people for as a specialty for insight.
Insight, yeah.
But would they be like a
Or a cult.
Yeah,
No,
either.
I think you mean more of like reading a person.
Their micro expressions.
yeah,
No, really, like
Yeah.
yeah. It would be insight.
Yep.
So
You
if
just
I
want
want a
specialty.
specialty, it would be like reading people.
That's kind of what the whole category is.
Yeah. You would maybe something like you can lying would like if someone's lying to you, you have a bonus.
That would be an example. Yeah.
Yeah. Versus if they were, I don't know what's another example. If they were hiding something, maybe I don't know, like an omission.
I could see. Yeah. I mean,
So
or
maybe like
in-
a truth seer for insight. If I can see if people are hiding, telling lies.
what do you think you use it for?
Kind of going back to the voodoo thing. Like if I'm doing something for someone, like I want to be able to, for it to be able to work, I need to be able to read them and see where it is that they're leading to. Maybe it goes back to just that I don't believe in a lot of that stuff anyway. So it's kind of a sham, but like the guy who can talk to your dead relative. What the fuck was his
So
name?
maybe an insight specialty in background. Like, so your insight specialty is when you're trying to figure out
their
about
history.
their history. Yeah, you could call it history or background. That would be, I think, specific enough.
Word.
Yeah. All I have left to do is finish picking merits and flaws, and I need to pick one more specialty.
What do you got so far for merits and flaws or anything?
Just resources at this.
All right.
And then I have a specialty in photography, in chemistry, in pickpocket, and I need one more.
I could see you having some sort of specialty in like military etiquette or something.
I've got etiquette as I took jack of all trades.
Uh-huh.
So
I could see, but you said you like took a lot of pictures like of like officers and in camp and shit like
Sure.
that. Like knowing how to kind of like, knowing the proper way to act
Yep.
in that capacity. And I don't know.
Yeah, military protocol would be a good etiquette one.
All right, so I got my 4 specialties are cooking, background on insight, field medic for medicine,
Nice.
Cool.
and then stealth wilderness.
Okay.
Yep.
You got to be jack of all trades just to fucking be able to drive a cart of chemicals around the fucking countryside. You gotta have like at
You
least
must have so many skills.
so many. I have. Yeah, I think it's 19.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to break down on Kingsley? It's pretty much done except Bonds.
Yeah,
but
go
I
for
think-
it. Yeah, let's hear
I
it.
think I'm going to sit on Bonds and
Yeah.
maybe
Yep.
see if like something comes up or bring it up in game. All right, Kingsley Burke the 4th, concept handicap politician. I don't know what I'm supposed to say for that. Goal to be necessary / to appear successful. Vice feelings of inadequacy. Stats, I already said those. His skills 3-pointers are persuasion, academics, and politics. 2-pointers are insight, performance, awareness, finance, investigation. And 1-pointers in drive, firearms, etiquette, subterfuge, medicine, science and technology. Specialties are oration, smooth talking, inquisitive, and chemist.
Nice.
His
Chemist under medicine.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
His merits are 1 point of fame. This is again like Black Valley focus.
Sure.
1 point of fame, 2 points of influence, 3 points of resources, a 2-point contact who is the local state representative.
Okay.
Might not live in Black Valley, but this part of the state.
Okay.
And if that's completely pointless, then I'll come up with something else. An ally, a 2-point ally. I thought like a baron of industry, like somebody who
Cool.
runs a mine out
Yeah,
here or
yeah.
Sure.
a factory, something that
Coal mine.
yeah. And then flaws, lame, substance abuse, traumatic past, giving dementia, self-resentment. So the traumatic past is tied to not just his physical limitations, but the fact that he didn't serve when maybe there was a way to, and his brother did and died, and everyone else that did and is a hero, and blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah.
So what was that keyword for that dementia?
Self-resentment.
Okay. Cool. I like it. Sounds good.
Fucking playing Adventure again.
Yeah, basically, right?
Fuck.
Yeah,
say?
you're right.
God damn it.
I like the
Playing
idea.
Adventure again.
All right.
Yep, the politician. I like the idea that the backgrounds on your character sheet are relevant to the area you're going to be. Like this, if you were in Baltimore or something, you'd probably have more.
Yeah.
But those are the relevant ones. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of the
Cool.
idea. Anyone else have enough that they want to?
Yeah, I got most of the stuff that I will pick out now. So Noah, concept is gentleman inventor. I don't have a goal yet. I'll figure that out. Vice is flexible morals.
Selling to both sides.
Gonna have those flexible morals as an arms dealer. 2 strength, 4 dex, 2 stamina, 2 charisma, 1 manipulation, 3 composure, 3 intelligence, 3 wits, 2 resolve. I took specialist, so I have 4 in craft with a specialty in machining, 3 in firearms with a specialty in rifle, 1 in melee with a specialty in sword, and 1 in survival, 1 in etiquette, 3 in insight, 2 in persuasion, 2 in awareness, 2 in finance, 1 in science, and 3 in technology, with a specialty in firearms. And I took linguistics, speaks multiple languages, 2 resources, and looks. He's a good looking fella.
Nice.
How big is his mustache?
So it's big. It's big.
Thick.
Multiple twirls.
Yep.
Multiple twirls.
He's got the double.
Whoa.
And he's got the lower one.
Yeah.
too. I can go, but I don't have the merits and flaws part, which I think is going to kind of lend itself to goals and vices as well. Because I kind of need to dig into what he's been doing since the war, other than what it means to just be a photographer for a newspaper. but his attributes: 2 strength, 2 dex, 1 stamina, social, 2 charisma, 3 manipulation, 3 composure, mental, 3 intelligence, 4 wits, 2 resolve. And for skills, he took jack of all traits, so he's got a 3 in investigation, and then a 2 in technology with a specialty in photography, a 2 in occult, a 2 in awareness, a 2 in insight, a 2 in streetwise, in subterfuge, in survival and stealth, and then in
Ones and everything.
Everything else.
Pretty much
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
What don't you have a 1 in? What do you not have any points in?
athletics, brawl, intimidation, leadership, performance, finance, medicine, and politics. Everything else I have a 1 in.
All right.
And then
I better get to roll politics.
I have a specialty for larceny and pickpocket, and then a specialty in etiquette for military protocol, and in chemistry, or science. Specialty
Science,
is chemistry. Yeah. So
You guys can start cooking up meth, I guess.
yeah, sick.
I should just change my concept to chicken hawk. The 4F guy who deferred
Yeah.
fucking 4 deferments to Vietnam, but real big war somewhere.
Yeah.
I think in my chemistry wagon, we could do a meth lab. We're in like the Appalachians, right?
Oh, man.
Some moonshine,
I
maybe.
got finances. We could really roll
Yeah.
it forward.
Cool. Good stuff, guys.
Sweet.
Oh, Dan, real quick. Occult?
Yeah. So I think that's going to be part of his time after the war. And I think that I haven't quite flushed it out yet, but I'm imagining that he got a photograph of something that kind of changed his perception.
Okay.
It might become the merit, like behind the veil kind of thing.
Sure.
And after that, he might have become a little obsessed with it after the war.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that like the plate broke, so he doesn't really have any evidence of what he's after.
Uh-huh.
And so that kind of bends him towards the occult and that sort of research.
Cool.
Yeah. But he probably, maybe he's a bit manic about it and still has to like get kind of freelance work to pay the bills
Uh-huh.
for, kind of family portraits and, public events that happen that have to be photographed.
Nice.
But that's going to be maybe his secondary focus.
All right. Nice. Should have stuck with finance instead of occult. You'd probably be doing better.
Yeah.
Yep, probably.
All right.
You good to go, Matt?
I think so.
Yeah.
Mostly to make sure that I fucking did this right and didn't fuck something up. So we have Benton Beaureclair, former slave, voodoo chef. Vice is Wanderlust. Doesn't have a goal yet. For attributes, I went with 3 strength, 3 dex, 4 stamina, 1 charisma,
Beefy boy.
2 manipulation, 2 composure, and 2 intelligence, 3 wits, 2 resolve. Skills, I went with the balanced. So we got 2 athletics, 2 brawl, specialty in cooking, 1 in ride, 3 in firearms, 1 in larceny, 2 melee, 2 stealth with a specialty in wilderness, 3 survival, 1 animal ken. I don't really know what that means, but animals, so sure. Specialty in insight for background, 1 intimidation, 1 persuasion, 1 streetwise, 2 awareness, 1 investigation, specialty in medicine field medic, and 3 occult.
Nice.
Nice.
And then for merits, glimpsed beyond the veil, supernatural blessed. Both of those are 2. I also went with allies. I put it 3. And I have 2 flaws, traumatic past at 2 and supernatural cursed at 2. So I think that means I still have 2 merit points to spend.
Okay. And 3 allies is pretty fucking beefy. So think about what that could be. Something that could actually be relevant where you're going to be.
There's examples in the book, Matt. It's like Jake gave the page number, and it's like you could basically have a 3-point ally or more than one, and it basically based about what they bring to the table.
Yeah,
you don't need an answer now, but
I was going to say, if I'm reading that right, 3 is a gifted mortal or a dangerous group of average mortals, right?
yeah.
So I was thinking more it would be like I have, because of being a former slave and having sort of the ties to the voodoo religion and the African culture, would be that I can reach out to other Negroes in the area, give them the old nod.
I like that because not necessarily people that you already know, but just you can make that connection.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Like
Okay.
I can kind of reach out, and I can, it's easy for me to get in touch, not necessarily get in touch with those people.
You know
but
where
yeah,
to go and who to ask and what to say. Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool. That's cool.
Nice.
All right. Should we give you these character sheets? That'd be helpful.
Sure. Yeah.
I'll email you mine.
Why don't you just listen back and just write it all down?
Yeah. Yeah. So we've got the eccentric inventor, the gun manufacturer.
Yeah.
German gun guy.
Yeah, German gun guy.
Weird.
Voodoo chef, handicap politician, and photographer spy. All right.
Optimal party.
Ghost photographer spy.
Awesome.
Sweet.
All right, guys. This gives me some ammunition.
Sweet.
Yay.
Let's see you for game 1.
Yeah.